Hey, how's it going, guys? DominoPairs21 here, and back again with, I guess you can say, a fairly overdue deck profile for you all. So, of course, what I'm talking about is my Dragonic Overlord Rebirth deck that I know a lot of you guys have been requesting for ever since I uploaded my match not too long ago with this. But yeah, Rebirth in general has been testing really well, and I think that Rebirth is just a really fantastic card, and I really think that a lot of players are not giving him enough credit for just how, effective he really is. Obviously, of course, break riding with Dragonic Overlord can create some pretty serious combos, but even afterwards, just him by himself, he's not as bad as people give him credit for. But like I said, it really just depends on the player itself and the build and such, but of course, like I said, it's been testing really well. Able to show some pretty good success in a few of my locals I took this deck in recently. So yeah, overall very happy with the few card choices and ratios I was kind of fine-tuning with the help of a few friends. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually get started. So, excuse me, Urza and Kadumi. So of course, first off for your starter, you have your Red Pulse Draco Kid. Obviously, Conroe cannot be played as a starter, so Red Pulse is really virtually the best starter to play for Kagero in general. Now, there's also Lizard Soldier Fargo, which I don't have a copy of to show you guys, but what Lizard Soldier Fargo does is you put him into Soul with no cost, free of cost, and until the end of the turn, your Vanguard gains the ability of whenever it hits, whether it's rearguard or Vanguard, you get to retire one of your opponent's rearguards. Now, don't get me wrong, very, very amazing starter. It's very fantastic, and I tested it out myself, but I just like Red Pulse just because it's a better insurance card. And like I always say, if there's an option out there that can help me be more consistent, I'm going to go for that. So obviously it helps you fish out your Dragonic Overlord Break Ride, and most importantly, it helps you prevent Greylock. It's just what a Grade 3 Searcher does. I still like Fargo, so I am still switching back and forth between them, but I just like the insurance that Red Pulse brings. So, simple as that. Now, of course, moving on to Grade 3s. It's pretty simple. Just, you have of course, your 4 Rebirth and your 4 Dragonic Overlord. So nothing fancy here, no mix-ins with Rebirth and Novell and such, although I was kind of trying that out too, because it was very interesting to try out, and I know people like to mix in Rebirth with the end and such, but I like to keep things simple, so just 4/4. I really like to kind of keep my decks focused on kind of like one main unit. So yeah, Rebirth, in case you guys don't know, what Rebirth skill is, Limit Break 4, you Counterblast 1, and you lock one of your Kagero rearguards. When you do that, you can continue locking the rest of your rearguards with that same one Counterblast, and when you have 5 Kagero rearguards locked, he gains +10 till end of turn. So it's pretty good. And then at the end of turn, at the end of the battle that he attacks, you discard 2 Kageros and then stand him up when you pay that cost. So yeah, it's fairly decent. A restanding Vanguard, still a restanding Vanguard. Obviously, of course, the downside of Rebirth, which kind of gets him discredited by a lot of players, including myself initially, is the fact is that obviously all your rearguards are locked and such. But the way I see it, the way you really want to see it is, yeah, it kind of is a really downside that your rearguards don't attack, and obviously if your opponent has like 2 perfect guards or 2 10s in there, if they have like 2 10s and a perfect guard, they can easily deal with the Rebirth, so it's not as pressuring. But that's really under the assumption that you're always going to have that perfect field to, essentially pressure your opponent. And as you guys know, not every game in Vanguard is perfect where you're always going to have, amazing columns at all times. So let's say I have a field full of like 2 7Ks, because that's all I was able to do, only hitting for 14, and my other column's only 16, and I'm dealing with the cross ride. So, those aren't really amazing columns, so he kind of just converts those weak columns into just 2 big massive attacks. So it's pretty efficient looking in that sense, and of course, him comboed with your Dragonic Overlord Break Ride, just fantastic combo, and easily one of the best Break Ride combos in the game. Being able to get off 3 twin drives is really, really amazing. It is important though that you have to be careful when you actually perform the Break Ride, because sometimes, honestly, it's not as effective if you do it at the wrong time. Like maybe if you do it a little bit too early. So you really got to be mindful of when you actually decide to go off. But yeah, in terms of Dragonic Overlord Break Ride, in case you guys don't know what he does, it's Limit Break 4. When you ride a Kagero unit on top of him, you Counterblast 1, or excuse me, when you ride a Kagero unit on top, your Vanguard gains +10,000, and the ability of, at the end of the battle, that your Vanguard attacks a rearguard, you Counterblast 1, discard 1 Kagero, and then stand him up. So, of course, obviously, combining him with Rebirth, like I said, you get 3 attacks off, so you attack a rearguard and then attack. So essentially you're attacking for minimum 33, which is pretty good with 3 drive checks, so stacking triggers on top of it is pretty good. So honestly, if you can get this combo off at the right time with your opponent caught off guard, or if your opponent doesn't even have like 2 perfect guards in hand, they're going to really have a tough time dealing with this. So yeah, it's very powerful, and really fun to pull off sometimes too. Especially if your opponent gives you Limit Break a little bit too early, and you end up managing to hit a critical trigger like in the first check. So definitely a lot of fun plays with that combo. And next up, for grade 2s, of course, we have our 4 Dragonic Burnout. Fantastic card overall, and just really love this card. So what he does is, when he's placed on Rearguard Circle, you Soul Blast 1, and you take 1 copy of a grade 3 with Overlord in its name, put it in the bottom of your deck, and you get to retire one of your opponent's rear guards. So what I like is, 1, it just utilizes the soul as opposed to counterblasting, which can sometimes conflict with other Kagero units, so it's very efficient in terms of cost. And I mean, it's just another way to, I guess you can say, fuel up your deck, just in case you are getting close to decking out. I mean, I never necessarily needed to rely on his skill to avoid decking out, although there was a few games where I was very close. But like I said, it's just free of counterblast, just to essentially do what Kagero does best, retiring rear guards, controlling the board. So he actually combos well with another card I actually play in this deck, which I'll show you in a sec. Then next, of course, for grade 2s, you have your 4 Burning Horn Dragons. Obviously, of course, with a Dragonic Overlord. If he attacks and your Vanguard has Overlord in its name, gains plus 3, excuse me, so he's a 12k attacker. Still don't like that this art is blue. It kind of bothers me, because, you know, all the Kagero cards are like, you know, fire, red, and stuff, and he's like blue, and looks like he has like lightning in the back. I don't know. Kind of looks like a Narukami unit, but I don't know. Whatever. We kind of get over things. And last but not least, for my grade 2s, you have your 2 Seal Dragon Hunger Hell. Why Hunger Hell? Because I ran it on the Hallam. So yeah, I think just to keep it simple, with standard 10Ks are a lot better, because Berserk Dragons is another option you could go for, but essentially with, you know, with Dragonic Overlord, with Rebirth, with your starter, and, you know, using Rebirth multiple times, there can sometimes be a few conflictions when it comes to counterblasting. So you definitely want to just reserve all your counterblasting for your main combo pieces, which of course is your boss units, hence why I love Dragonic Burnout a lot. So I thought just to keep it simple with the 10Ks, because it's a really amazing turn 2 ride, just so you don't get rushed down by 19k columns, potentially by virtually any subclan you face. And it's just, you know, 10Ks are always consistent for you, so that's really the main reason. Just a good defensive turn 2 ride. So yeah, simple as that. Pretty straightforward, basic grade 2 lineup. The next, for grade 1s, you have your 4 Turtlebringer Griffin. So when he's placed on Rearguard Circle, you discard a grade 3 Kagero. I wish it was grade 3 higher, hence, because you can actually splash Novella more efficiently in the deck, but it's just grade 3 Kagero. You discard 1, and then you search your deck for a Dio and add it to your hand. So yeah, it's obviously just a way to consistently get to your break ride consistently, but most importantly, it's another card that adds fuel for your burnouts. So that's a card that can combo pretty well in the early stages of the game if you can help it. So really amazing card. So definitely gotta run that at 4. And then of course you have your 4 perfect guards. Now Quintet Walls was something I was kind of messing around with, just because I don't know, I felt that although there is the risk of decking out, especially with 3 twin drives and such, I still wanted to try out Quintet Walls and such, but I decided just to go with perfect guards. It was actually, surprisingly enough, the counterblasting that kind of bothered me, as opposed to the potential deck out and such. I mean, that's another possibility too, but I think the 4 perfect guards are perfect for the deck. I definitely don't recommend Quintet Walls. I already play tested it a few times, so yep, 4 perfect guards. You have 4 Kojos. Definitely one of my MVPs in the deck. So obviously, of course, you know, just your standard classic card of being able to cycle through your cards, rest it, discard, and draw. So obviously you can use it before locking units with Rebirth. Definitely got to be careful with how much you're using it. I mean, you don't want to just like abuse this card, because you could risk yourself decking out, obviously. But he obviously combos really well with Burnout as well, because it just gets another grade 3 in the drop zone if you can help it, as fuel. So it's definitely a nice, good early turn play. And last but not least, we have our 2 Violent Horn Dragon. So Violent Horn Dragon, is this your 10k beater? Initially I wasn't going to play him, but I found him a lot more useful than than I anticipated, just because for how powerful your Break Ride skill is. You know, your opponents will be very reluctant to give you Limit Break too soon, so it's just nice to have access to more beaters, because a lot of times your opponents will keep like wailing on your rear guards constantly, so it's just nice to have more access to more beaters to work with in the deck. So yeah, simple as that. And it's a 7k obviously. And for my last of my grade 1s actually, one Calamity Tower Wyvern. Now obviously, of course, you want to utilize the soul mainly for Dragonic burnouts, but in those cases where maybe you're not drawing too many burnouts or you don't necessarily need to, Calamity Tower is just nice to have that as that one option, just to help utilize maybe the last bit of your soul to maybe get that last card in your hand so you can use Rebirth and such. But it just gives you another option, but I think one, no more than one, is perfectly fine. So yep, that's it for my grade 1s. Nothing exciting here, guys. Just nice, simple, and consistent, which is how I like my decks. And last but not least, for triggers, we of course have our 4 Dragon Mage crits. I really like the artwork on this. It looks really, really cool. So yep, 4 of those. 2 Tars, and 2 more of these Lizard Soldier Goraha. I don't know. I don't really like the artwork on this one. Kind of looks like he has like a brain showing on his head. I don't know, it's really weird. But yeah, 8 crit. We are going with 4 draws. So in terms of the draws, I was actually going to take out these 2 guys and play Gatling Claw Dragons, because I still want to have that option of being able to blow up starters without having to rely on Dragonic Burnout necessarily. But so I was going to run 2 and 2, but I just can't find my Gatling Claws right now. But yeah, our PK, I'm really bad at pronouncing names, sorry guys. But yeah, the Seal Dragon draw trigger, really good, just being that Margot clone. Most importantly, he combos well with Rebirth. So if you're actually cross-ridden, so Rebirth, of course, will be 13k base, putting him in Soul to give your Rebirth +3 before you actually go off with his skill, makes it, of course, 26. So if you're dealing with a non-cross-ride deck, allows you to hit for a much better number, gets you right in there to that next tier to provide pressure to your opponent. So that way your opponent can't just throw like 2 10s for 2 to pass, and if you don't hit triggers, they can do it again. So it causes them to really drop more hand and make a little bit more gambling decisions sometimes. So really, really good card. Also at the same time, it's just a free card to go in Soul, just in case maybe you want to get your Calamity Tower Wyvern off or Dragonic Burnout and such. So simple as that. And then of course you have your 4 heals. These should be Teresa's, but again, I can't really find them, and I don't feel like switching them out because double sleeving is really a pain. But yeah, there you have it, guys. It's not a very exciting deck necessarily. Like I said, this is just a very simple, consistent deck, but it works. It works, it wins, and it's just really fantastic. And you know, like I said, I think Rebirth is very underrated. I mean, I know a lot of people are really on the wagon of, you know, using the N with original Dragonic Overlord Break Ride. I personally think it's not very good. So yeah, I think Rebirth is a lot better. But I mean, what's really nice is that they're still open for different combinations. You know, I've seen some friends, they run Rebirth and the N with Dio, and you know, I see Novell being ran too as well. So there's necessarily no right or wrong answer to what kind of combination you choose to use for your grade 3 lineup. But like I said, for this deck, I'm just keeping it very simple. So yeah, there you have it, guys. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below with any questions and such, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this video. It's always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Well, on that, guys, thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.